Hi there, I'm Lisa. I'm the owner of Lollipop Box Club, and today I have a video of tips. These are tips for being creative, tips for scrapbooking, tips for in your traveler's notebook, in your creative journals, but it's all tips to how to keep things simple, how to create when you don't have much time, how to create really quite simple but yet really sweet designs as well. We don't always have loads of time, but sometimes we still get that urge to scrapbook or create, or you have a photo that you really want to get a story down in your journal. So today I'm going to share some tips with how I create when I don't have much time. The first tip I'm going to share with you, I do like to send out handmade cards. I've got these little cards here and they've literally got a wooden topper and a typed out sentiment. It's not even really a sentiment, is it? It's a few words. The little wooden embellishments, I sometimes include these in the Lollipop Box Club kits. This was in the earlier kit in the summer. And this one is actually, you've got some of these coming up in the November, the Enchanted Forest Kit. They just make such sweet little cards, and all you do is print off some wording. You could even write it if you wanted. But I love that wood effect on the white card. It's a really clean looking card, and yet they take seconds to make. Now the next one, I'm going to go on to a really quick 12 by 12 page. The whole design idea could also work in a traveler's notebook, for example, but I'm just showing you this 12 by 12. I always get asked about my white 12 by 12 cardstock. It's my favourite base to scrapbook on. I buy a huge, great big pack of it from Craft Creations on Amazon. I think it's $13.99. I am going to go and double check that, and I think it's like 100 sheets. I've double checked. This is a new pack that I've recently opened. So 100 sheets may sound like absolutely huge amounts, but obviously they're thin, so they don't take up too much space. I did share a video earlier on in the week with how I store all my scrapbooking bits and pieces, so I will share that link with you below in case you missed that. But I've just double checked. The prices do change obviously on Amazon. It's currently $14.99 or $14.29 plus $1.99 delivery or something, and it's really thick card. It's 201 GSM, and I never have problems with creating on this at all. But today I'm just going to show you a really simple design. This fantastic wood slice stencil. This is one of the add-ons in the Lollipop Box Club kit this month. It doesn't come in the kit, but it is one that you can pay for extra. It's £3.99, and I'm going to show you right now how to create really quickly using this stencil. One of the first things I always recommend when working with a stencil is to add something around the outside. If I start spraying on this and then I remove it, I'm going to get that square box around the outside as well. Remember to always prepare the base when you are using stencils and mists, and I always go through my paper basket, and rather than use up paper that doesn't need throwing away, I use up the paper that belongs in the bin. So I cover it up. Obviously be careful not to spray over these. I'm using a really, really old mist, and I'm just going to spray over. There we go. And I'm going to leave that to dry and go and sort my photos out. So while this has been drying, I have been printing off my photos. I have done exactly what I pre-warned you not to do. And I've got spray there. These are my photos. I get asked all the time about how I print my photos. I do have a sprocket, but that's not the main way I print. I do buy A4 photo paper. I have larger as well for the larger photos, and I use Painshop Pro to edit my photos. I give them the frames, and then I print them on a regular Epsom A4 printer, which also does photos as well. I will link up below. There's a free trial you can use for Painshop Pro, and it's really easy to use. I'm going to use this note paper here from the kit, and I'm just going to cut around it, and this is going to be my title. I've added another photo I've cut this week off, and I'm going to add a strip of paint along the bottom. The paint's dried. I've printed my journaling onto a strip, and now I'm just going to stick it all down in place. I've got these tabs from the DIY kit this month, and I'm actually going to use one of these. I'm going to cut it out. And now I've just added them as embellishments. I've done another little one here, which I'm going to pop at the top. And where I've misted that by mistake, I'm going to make it look like it was meant to be. I've got this month's embellishments postcard here, which I'm going to cut up and use to add a couple of stickers. And I will be done. And that's it. I have finished this very easy layout. Now obviously you need to wait for the paint and the mist to dry, but something I used to do, this is a really great tip, when I really struggled when the kids were younger and I didn't have much time, I would actually work on the backgrounds of layouts at night. Late at night I would just do a little bit of spray, a little bit of misting, stenciling, paint, whatever, and leave it to dry overnight, and then come downstairs. I might then add a few photos, get on with the kids' breakfast, come back a bit later, might stick a few things down and do it in that way, do it in stages rather than actually spending an hour or so or half an hour stood over a page. I would do it in stages. Doing a few backgrounds at one time is also really helpful, so you get that kind of messy phase and then they can dry again if you can do that overnight. Or sometimes I would do it before doing dinner, so leaving the mist to dry before dinner and then coming back again once the kids had gone to bed. That really worked for me. I'm now moving on to a traveller's notebook page. Again, I'm keeping it really simple just by using some papers. I did manage to stick them on wonky, so I'm covering it up at the bottom with some pom-pom, which comes in the Christmas kit. So the pom-poms are great because they cover up that crooked edge. And now I've just stuck these 3 blocks from the embellishment postcard. I've quickly cut out some clouds, just rough by hand, and I'm going to place them on my page. I'm going to add one more. They're really easy to cut out. I've just got some scrap paper here, and it's just 3 half circles, and I'll pop that one on there. Going to add my journaling next. I've got these exclusive stickers. These are from the Christmas kit, the Christmas cheer kit. So I'm actually going to use some of these. I think they'll work really well. And now I've grabbed my black journal pen and I'm just doodling around the outside and adding a little bit of journaling. And this is my really quick and simple page. Don't get hung up on making sure everything's straight. If it goes a bit wonky, it's not the end of the world. It is only paper and there's always ways to cover things up. Don't be panicked about having to fill the whole page. You don't have to. You can just work on a small area and you can leave areas blank and it still looks perfectly fine. And another thing, you don't have to do loads and loads of journaling. Stickers are often a really good way of doing the journaling for you. Now I have another really easy 12 by 12 design, but this can also be used on a smaller scrapbook page or also another a traveller's notebook page. We're going to be using a grid design. I've got some square photos. I do love my square photos. I've also printed these off myself like I did the ones previously, and I need little squares. I need them to be slightly larger than what I've already got. So I'm just going to go and trim my papers down. So I've got my grid ready. They're all cut up and I'm going to stick them down. Again, I'm not worried if it's not perfect, but I do use repositional tape so I can easily peel something up if it's not quite right, but it's not something I get stressed over. Am I going to use that? No, I don't think I am. Right, let's decide where my photos are going. The other thing I am going to do is do some faux stitching. I will show you how I do that. I love seeing stitching on my scrapbooking pages, but it is really time consuming and it's not something I very often have time to do. So I have 2 tips for you today. One is to create a faux stitched look. So that's like a fake stitching look. You just need to draw the lines onto your page and then I'll show you from there. The other thing is, and this is another thing I used to do a lot when the kids were smaller, I would leave the really lengthy bits like the sewing to when maybe I was sat watching TV in the evening, and then I would finish my page then, or if we were out in the car I would take my needle and thread And my husband would drive and I would then do the lengthy bits in the car. That's quite easy to do when you're doing something like sewing. Now once I've got those lines done, I've got a paper piercer and I'm just going to make holes. I do this for when I sew anyway, so it's the same instructions. Just pierce the holes as if you were going to be sewing them up afterwards. And now I like to take a biro. I prefer a biro over an ink pen, and you go from dot to dot. You're literally joining the dots, but you do want your pen to run from the dot to dot. You don't want it to be a perfect straight line, because then it doesn't look like a stitch. Another tip, never be afraid of imperfections. Here it hasn't quite gone to plan, and here, but I'm really not worried. I'm not about it looking perfect. It's not that kind of look, and I'm not about to go and try and untape it and add a new one. That's what takes the time. I would rather work, and actually I could possibly even cover some of it. I would rather work that way and get this story documented than panic too much, worry too much, and end up maybe not even documenting the story at all. Sometimes you have to take a reality check and remember the reason you're actually doing this. Some 3D foam pads to attach my photos. I like the little bit of height that gives. There you go. It's worked out perfectly. I'm going to add one of the wooden trees from the Christmas kit. I've also got some of these for sale as add-ons in this November kit. And sometimes you don't always have time to get all the paints out, and they can take ages to dry. I love these acrylic paint markers. I will link these up below. They are a really fast way to add a little bit of paint to your projects, and they dry really quickly. And I love how they work on just pretty much any surface. I can always give that one another coating in a minute. These markers are fab. Love packs of die cuts. They're another really, really quick way of adding bits and pieces to a layout. So another quick tip, I just felt that this looked a little bit empty. I might actually add some journaling there, but right now I have just gone around with a pencil and ruler, and I've just done some lines, and I'm going to continue, but I'm adding green now with a watercolor pencil. Watercolor pencils are fab, and they're really quick and easy. So I'm doing some really thick lines here. I did the normal pencil first just in case I did go wrong. It was an easy way to correct it. And then I've just got a little pot of water and a thinnish brush, and I'm just going to add some water to my lines, and I think that will make a really nice finish to the page. And I will add a little bit of journaling. I've just got a yellow pencil, and I'm just going to go around the outside a little bit, adding an extra bit of colour. And now I've got a darker green, and I'm just going to tone down that green. The original green was quite bright, a bit brighter than I anticipated. So I've added my journaling. I've just typed it out. I've added 2 little bits, and I've used a long reach stapler to keep them in place. Although I love the white space, I'm not great at white space, so I'm using a little bit of the water that was left over from the watercolors, and I'm just going to tap it there and there for some really quick background colors. There we go. Another tip I have, that if you have a design that works really well for you, so like for example using 6 squares that you can just decorate, if you have a go-to design, so if ever you don't have much time, or you've got that kind of scrapbooking block where you just can't seem to make anything, go to your go-to design and just go from there and create. It's always a really quick way to create a page. I'm just going to add some little dots. There's something about the number 3. Just decided to add something else at the top. I've got 3 trees from the die cuts, and I'm adding the word happiness, and I am calling it a day with that page. That's it. So there you have it. We've got 2 cards, really simple and easy. We've got a traveler's notebook page, my creative journal, and then we've got 2 very easy and simple 12 by 12s. I hope these little tips and ideas have helped you. You don't have to create over your whole page. You can just create in a small little kind of cluster. That works as well. And remember to reuse your easy designs. Have a go-to design that you find easy peasy. And remember, you don't have to do everything in one sitting. You can print off a whole load of photos. You can work on a whole load of backgrounds. You can start at tea time, finish in the morning. You can split your projects and manage your time that way as well. And remember not to get hung up on all the perfections. It doesn't have to be perfect. Remember the reason you're doing this. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Please let me know if you have enjoyed this video. Please let me know if these tips have helped you, and let me know what are your tips for scrapbooking when you don't have too much time. I would love to know. Please share. Thank you so much for watching. I'll link up these two boxes below, the Christmas box and the November box, and I will see you very soon. Thank you. Bye.